Finding funding for your not-for-profit organisation can be stressful, it can be time-consuming and considerably overwhelming, especially if you're new to the game, but it doesn't have to be. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can find funding fast. Hi, I'm Philippa and I've spent over 25 years leading and helping small businesses, charities and community interest companies raise millions of pounds worth of funding. So today I'll show you how to use AI to speed up your funding search so that you're not wasting hours of time scrolling on websites or chasing dead ends. So let's start. Step 1, create your prompt for AI. So the first thing you need is a clear, detailed prompt. Now your AI works best when it's has all the background information about your organisation. So the best way to do this, for example, I use ChatGPT. I also use Perplexity, but not in the video today. I'm just going to talk about ChatGPT, but it is transferable onto other forms of AI. So I'm assuming you've already set up a project in ChatGPT, and I've talked about that in other videos in my training courses. So if not, you'll have to set up a project on your browser version of ChatGPT and upload all the information you can into the files. Now, I know some people just do it on the chat in the thread, but I find that creating a project in ChatGPT, you can upload all your files, and then that is a good way for it gets more accurate information, more accurate answers. Some of the examples of what you could upload are your governing documents, your mission, vision statements, details of your website, any social media links, any strategies or annual reports, or impact statements that you've created, and any details on projects. So this helps AI to understand your organisation is and what you do. So as much up-to-date information and relevant information that you can give it, the results will be more accurate. So make sure you name your project something relatable, maybe just the name of the organisation. If you want to put funding next to it, that will work well. Step 2 is to develop your prompt. So I'll give you a prompt here that you can copy and tweak. I'll put it down below. So I've asked it to act as my funding expert with many years of experience finding fundings for, and then you insert your sector. So and then put your organisation type, so whether that's a community interest company, a charity, a community incorporated, a charitable incorporated organisation. So add your organisation type. That aims to and insert your mission, and then support, insert your beneficiaries and insert your area. You can then ask it to please provide a list of current or upcoming grant opportunities in the year, so 2025, that align with this mission and geographic focus. Only include opportunities that match my type of organisation, otherwise you'll get a massive list of which you're not eligible for. So include local, regional, national, government and charitable foundations. Sorry, can't speak, and charitable foundations. So for each, include the funder, name, description, eligibility, grant size, scope, deadlines, website and contact details. My preferred local authority area is, and insert your local authority names. So there's your base template. To whittle with it as much as you like to suit your organisation, but that gives you a good template to start with. So I'll give you an example. So my organisation is Chime In, Community Interest Company. To give you a practical demonstration, here's the kind of prompt that I use for my community interest company. So act as my funding expert, drawing on years of experience sourcing grants for community interest companies, charities and social enterprises in the UK. My organisation is Chime In Community Interest Company, whose mission is to enable communities in South Yorkshire and surrounding areas to deliver social action that creates a legacy of purposeful change. We focus on engaging children, young people, and families as catalysts for community change, improving health and well-being, building skills and knowledge through our Chime In toolkits, encouraging active citizenship, volunteering and enterprising mindsets, supporting sustainable community assets and grassroots groups, amplifying community voices, choices and opportunities. Please provide a curated list of current or upcoming grant opportunities in 2025 to 2026 that align with this mission, with a focus on social action and civic engagement, children, young people and families, community health and well-being, environmental improvement and sustainable community assets, skills, enterprise and volunteering, youth work, holiday activities with children and young people. And then I'll specify the requirements. So include the funder name, description, eligibility, grant size, scope, deadlines, links. Exclude any closed opportunities. Now I do my grant funding search probably every 3 weeks, so and I have a good understanding what's closed, what's open, but I still like to do a search quite frequently. You may not want to include that part because you may be doing a search over a long period of time, entirely up to you. So priority areas, Doncaster and Sheffield, but include the wider UK opportunities too. And then I put in bonus case studies or application tips if available, and I'll just show you the response. Just a quick skim through the results. So at the top there we've got National Lottery Awards for All, which is usually the one that I would say is good for startup not-for-profit organisations. So it's from 300 to up to 20k. It's for up to 2 years. Remember, it takes about 16 weeks before you will get a decision, so you need to factor that in. It covers England. There is one for Scotland as well, and then it's a rolling arrangement, although there is an environment one open at the moment that closes in December. Also got Reaching Communities on there, and the I Will Fund. Reaching Communities is for £20,001 and above. And then we've got the Million Hours Fund currently open as well through the lottery. Again, between 30 and 100k. Then we've got Sport, Health and Wellbeing. So we've got Sport England, which we've applied for before. Children in Need is quite a regular one as well. They do have priorities, so you do need to check the website. Priority areas do change. Now we've got environment ones, so Viola and FCC. I don't think that's in our area. And BIFA Award is in some of our areas. And then we have the National Lottery Heritage Fund. Again, that's very focused on history, community archives, nature and heritage. It's very much heritage focused. And then South Yorkshire, so this is where it's coming down to the local level. We have South Yorkshire Community Foundation. In your area, you'll need to check. In the UK, I think there's something like 139 different community foundations, so do check what's the nearest to your area. Great for small groups, particularly grassroots early development groups. They start from as little as 500 up to 5,000. Sometimes they have bigger ones. It's worth having a look. And then we've got the Violence Reduction Unit, which we have had some funding from them before. And then it talks about the Sheffield City Council Award Pot grants. Now, in a lot of local authority areas, the councillors do have award pot grants. Now, it's usually about £3,000, but don't get too excited because that is for the total award. And then we've got Barnsley there with the Unity and Inclusion Grant. I've not accessed that one before. And then talks about Doncaster and Rotherham. The VCSE Funding Guidance Hub, I think it's actually called something different to that. And generally they don't have funding, but we do have what's called Well Doncaster that occasionally have funding. And then again, it mentions the elected members' ward budgets. You will not get 3K. It's highly unlikely. You're talking more than probably 200 or so from that if you're lucky. Depends what you're doing. And again, parish councils, very similar. They do have a budget. Unlimited. Now that's a really good one for those entrepreneurs that are just starting out, social entrepreneurs that are just starting out. They do 2 different rounds, one for startup and one when you are growing your organisation. So definitely worth looking at their website. Postcode Neighbourhood Trust. Again, that's open at certain points of the year. They have different areas, so you need to check which area you are in. And then Comic Relief is run via Groundwork and up to £5,000. And then we've got Tesco's Stronger Starts. Asda do a similar one, about £500, I think Asda's is. Aviva Community Fund. Now that's a crowdfunding, so you do have to have a following, you do have to have supporters, because the way that works is you have to get your supporters involved in the fundraising. So crowdfunding is great if you have a good following, and this is Aviva it's a really good one to get involved in when you're first starting out. So you see that ChatGPT here has given me a sort of which fund for what, so it can show where what those funds can do, and then it's added those optional extras. I don't generally go for small grants 1,500 because that doesn't really fund much in terms of what we do, but for smaller organisations it's fantastic. And then it gives a few tips here to tailor applications and what the funders want to look for. So this should be really useful if you can put your own organisation in and see what comes out of it. And you'll see at the bottom it's suggested some priorities as well for the next 6 to 12 weeks. So very helpful. Thank you, ChatGPT. And let's see how that goes. Step 4, we're about refining and repeating. So the first answer AI gives you might not be great, but don't stop there. So tell it what's not useful, ask it to refine or filter out any results that don't apply. So for example, if it lists a funder that only supports registered charities and you're a community interest company, then ask to remove any funders that only work with registered charities, because the others they're not useful for you. So this back and forth process, it saves you time while narrowing in on what really works. So step 5, I always say this to my clients, keep a tracker. Every time you run a funding search, you log the results in a funding tracker. It's a simple spreadsheet, works fine. You can track deadlines, you can track amounts and whether you've applied, what date you applied. And if you don't have one, then I've built in a ready to use funding tracker into the course, the Mastering Not-for-Profit Launch and Grow course, and you can see the link below if you're interested. The course has a variety of tools for you to help you, particularly useful for those just starting out within the first couple of years. Step 6 is why strategy speeds up funding. So funders want to know you're organised, credible and thinking long term. So having a clear strategy means that you're not just chasing money, you're showing how your work creates real impact. I cover strategy and funding in more detail inside my courses. It's everything you need to start up for a not-for-profit organisation, and links are in the description if you want to explore those. So that's how you can use AI to find funding fast for your not-for-profit. If you found this useful, then please like and subscribe. Share in the comments what type of funding do you most need right now. Is it about staff, projects, core costs? Tell me a little bit more about what you need to know about funding, about running your not-for-profit organisations. And check the links below for any of my courses that can help you to save hours of time and increase your funding success. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.